You know the feeling. You spoke with someone for just about a couple of minutes. But after this brief conversation, you feel completely drained, as if someone had unplugged your battery. On the other end, you could be talking to someone for just 1 minute. But after that one particular minute, you feel like you can go on to run a couple of marathons within 1 day. Why? Because the sense of boost and inspiration you get from that person causes you to believe that you can literally walk on water and go on to make history the way that you were so designed to do. This is precisely why I would like to talk to you about this thing known as energy. Contrary to what you might have been taught in your community, and contrary to the very fact that at school, when you were going to school, this was not precisely actually brought up as a subject, I want to tell you that this thing known as energy is actually your biggest secret weapon that you've been ignoring up until now. As a matter of fact, let me just share something with you. A few years ago, I used to believe that as long as I had good strategies, the skills that were required to make things happen, I had a sense of focus. And on top of that, I knew how to manage my time. I was going to be able to make certain things happen. It's only recently, after speaking with a few mentors, that I realized that, wait a minute, it is important to have a great sense of clarity and focus as to where you're going. It is important to know exactly how you're going to make things happen. In other words, you need to have the proper skills to go from point A to point B. It is absolutely important. It is also important to have a clear vision, to have strategies, to have goals to take you from where you are all the way to the mountaintop. But guess what? These things alone are not going to guarantee for you to get to the top. They are just the baseline that you have to consider when it comes to the skills or whatever you have to bring as equipment to climb to the top of the mountain. Because I've come to realize, and they've come to show me, that those who actually find themselves at the top are not so much focus masters. They are not so much strategy masters. They are not so much vision masters. They are not so much what you would call time management masters. But there is something key, and that all they have in common. It's called they are masters when it comes to how they manage the energy on a daily basis. And this is something key I would like to discuss with you today. Dimitri here. Before I go any further, let me just introduce myself. I am the gentleman who's simply on fire about helping you re-engineer your potential as a high achiever, re-engineer your potential as a winner, re-engineer your potential as a champion, and simply cause you now to 10x your result within 12 months. All right? Without any further ado, let's get right into it. First of all, what is energy? The French people simply say it is what they call the je ne sais quoi. It's something about you that causes people out there to want to talk about you when you're not in the room. It's what causes people to talk about you when you're not in the room. That's number one. Number two, it doesn't just stop there. It is precisely that something that French will call je ne sais quoi that causes people to talk about you in a particular manner. So again, the energy is the trigger for what happens when you're not in the room and how it happens when you're not in the room. In other words, it is that particular fragrance in the room, that fragrance in the atmosphere that people get to smell and causes them to now behave in a particular manner and cause them to do certain things when you're around and when you're not around. And that one particular thing, it's something that happens your own internal ways and also externally. Let me just give you a perfect example. As I've been saying for the past few months, if you spend lots of time with fishermen, you are not only going to start thinking in terms of fish all over the place. Everything you will be truly analyze your fish. because that's what you be seeing, thinking, dreaming about on a daily basis. For example, when Jesus goes to recruit his 12 disciples, who now become the apostles, he speaks to them in a language that is more familiar with them. He doesn't talk to the fishermen as he was talking to some kind of tax collectors. He doesn't talk to the fishermen as he would be talking to some kind of doctors. He will be talking to the fishermen as to the lens of fishing, because that's the only language that the fisherman knows. And the more you demonstrate a sense of common ground with the fishermen, the more they relate to you. So again, when it comes to our energy, if you spend a lot of time with a fisherman, you're going to start thinking, feeling, dreaming, and doing everything like a fisherman. And ultimately, the smell of fish, it's not a bad thing as a matter of fact, because I love fish. The smell of fish is going to permeate everything that you're going to do, because that's what drives you on a daily basis. Similarly, if you spend a lot of time with someone who's a hunter, who basically goes out there, look for animals as targets to bring home, so your mind will start thinking like a sniper. How to go out there and find a way to bring some kind of meat back to my house. And if you spend a lot of time with someone who knows how to chase money, to target money, and to bring money, ultimately you will start thinking like a salesman or saleswoman, because your only way of thinking will be simply as a salesman or as a saleswoman or another word, as a sniper who's supposed to go out and find a target and bring the target back home, because that's exactly how they think and feel on a daily basis. So similarly, this thing known as energy, when we actually digress from all this that people want to sell out there, you come to realize it's nothing but the fragrance that you carry, the fragrance that causes people to act in a particular way, and the fragrance that causes people to behave or to do certain things when you're not around, as far as who you are is concerned. And this is something you can control either internally or externally through your association. And this is something key. Now, as I was saying a couple of days ago, for those of you who've been actually following this series for the past few days, I was talking about the 4 quadrants of energy. I call it the PEMS. The other one: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Let's go with the first one. Your physical quadrant, as far as energy is concerned, determines the type of presence that you have when you show up. If you are someone who's not taking good care of you physically, your energy level will be at your particular level. It will be very hard for you to function at a certain level when it comes to whatever you are called to do on a daily basis. Physical energy is absolutely important to pay to. Your physical environment. Where do you live? How do the things you see on a daily basis inspire you to go on to want to do your very best? Or how the things that you are exposed to on a daily basis causes you to become drained and to become depressed even before you leave your house to go out to your workplace, because it's so depressing. Your physical environment is depressing, and that's something key that you have to pay attention to. Number 2, E for what? Emotional quadrant or emotional energy. Where do you live on a daily basis? Where do you go to on a daily basis? Because the type of emotional energy that you are surrounded with is going to cause you to be also executing, envisioning, and doing certain things based on where you're coming from your emotional ecosystem. If the emotional ecosystem is actually bad, it's corrupt, it's actually not really good, it's bankrupt, you also be operating from a place of bankrupt emotional energy. That's very key. 3, M for what? M for mental. Your mental ecosystem, the kind of books that you are surrounded with on a daily basis, the kind of professor you're surrounded with on a daily basis, the kind of mentors, the kind of coaches, the kind of entertainment that you expose your mind to on a daily basis will also determine how your mental energy will also be functioning on a daily basis. Last but not least, S for spiritual. Your spiritual ecosystem, the spiritual energy that you actually surrounded with on a daily basis will also determine ultimately how you're going to think on a daily basis and the kind of person you're going to become, how you're going to see yourself, because you're going to, if you're coming from a place where everybody thinks that you are a no one, you are a nobody, where everybody thinks that they're a nobody, slowly but surely you're going to start thinking that yes, I come from a nation of nobodies. I come from a house of nobodies. So therefore, because I believe I'm the product of my environment, I'm going to start seeing myself as a nobody. And before you know it, your potential will actually be downgraded to a place where you're going to start seeing yourself as a nobody, thinking like a nobody, and carrying the energy of a nobody. You're going to go to certain places dressed amazingly because you say, as long as I can get the proper shoes, the proper outfit, as long as I can take care of my physical ecosystem, basically look the part and pretend that everything is okay. But because your spiritual ecosystem is actually corrupt, you're going to show up to certain people who will simply say, my goodness, so-and-so looks good, smells good, and emotionally something to be correct. But somehow, spiritually, there's something about so-and-so that, yeah, I can't really put my finger on it, but there is no way I can do business with so-and-so. Why? Because of this thing known as your spiritual energy is completely off. You can go to certain neighborhood, say, I'm driving the right car, I'm dressed the right way, I've gone to the right school, so mentally I'm supposed to be here. Emotionally, I see myself living here. But spiritually, you go and speak to the people around this neighborhood, they say, no, we don't really sense this connection because somehow they say that spiritually you are off. Your energy is off, and therefore they will not want to entertain doing business or simply seeing you as a neighbor. And next thing you know, you become depressed because of that. That's something that you can control, that's eternal. Now let's move to something really key, which is basically the 4 levels of consciousness or mindset that you need to be aware of as far as the people that you actually see on a daily basis. So the ecosystem out or without. The first thing now you have to consider is there are 4 types of people around you. Number 1, the people who actually see themselves as victim. That's the first level of mind that you're going to be exposed to out there. People will spend the day just saying that, yes, oh my goodness, this is happening to me, this is happening to me. This is the level of complaint. These people will start shaping you and shaping the energy you carry on a daily basis. The next level is basically the hustlers. People actually make things happen. They say, yes, we're going to go out there and make things happen. And they carry a particular type of energy. And the more you spend time with them, you're going to start thinking, speaking, and also doing everything to the lens of a hustler. Number 3 is simply the level of people who believe that, yes, things are happening through me. And the more you spend time with them, the more you're going to start seeing yourself as a vessel or a blessing for your community. But ultimately, if you spend time with someone who will see themselves as one with everyone in the community, the good, the bad, and they see themselves as someone who's supposed to bring everyone together and be the glue in the community, these people will also shape the type of energy be carrying, and that type of energy is going to be ultimately what's going to cause even the people who don't like you to want to come do business with you, because they're going to sense somehow that you are so well regulated that you don't see them as the enemy, but you see yourself as someone who can bring people together. And before you know it, even those who don't agree with what you're saying will always find a way to come put money in your hands, because somehow they will simply see you as the glue they were so looking for as far as the community is concerned. So again, success is not so much about the skills. It's not so much about the school. It's not so much about whatever you bring to the table, your vision, the clarity, the focus that you have. No, success is ultimately all about how you're going to manage this thing known as energy. And this thing known as energy is not some kind of oh my goodness, mystical concept out there. And simply this, what I would call the je ne sais quoi. Something about you that's going to cause 2 things to happen. What and how it's going to happen, when you're in a room and when you are not. And this is something you can control through a couple of things. Paying attention to the ecosystem that you have created around you, physical ecosystem, emotional ecosystem, mental ecosystem, and spiritual ecosystem. And last but not least, paying attention to the type of people that you're actually allowed to bring in your home, to bring part of this ecosystem. Are you surrounded by people who complain all the time? So basically, the victims as far as society is concerned. Are you surrounded by hustlers? Are you surrounded by people who believe that, yes, things are happening through them? Are you surrounded by people who believe that, yes, they see themselves as one? Because the type of people you're going to bring into your life ultimately will shape the type of energy you're going to be exuding as far as who you are is concerned. So again, let's just conclude this presentation very quickly. Energy is something that's within your control. And if you don't pay attention to it, my friend, slowly but surely you're going to transform yourself into someone that nobody wants to pay attention to. Number one. Number two, energy is also something that you have to pay attention when it comes to the people you spend time with. They can either drain you or they can boost you up. So when it comes to the people who can drain you on a daily basis, my friend, is now my assignment for you. Can you just please, at the end of this video, start basically taking some time aside and thinking about these people and try to figure out a way that you can actually minimize interaction with these people until you can find a way to go from where you are right now, either a victim, a hustler, or as a one person, all the way to one person who can see themselves as one, to become the glue that be bringing people together. Because until you can address certain things about your own personal physical ecosystem, your own emotional ecosystem, your own mental ecosystem, your own spiritual ecosystem, you are not going to be in a place where you can simply now go out there and impact or affect the community around you. You have to work on yourself first before you can go out there and start bringing people together and start reshaping them and redirecting them when it comes to their own energy. All right. If you know someone who may be going through some issues when it comes to energy around them, either because of association or some bold personal choices, please reach out to them and share this resource with them so we can continue to grow together as a family. All right. Before I go, last but not least, I just want to remind you that you are indeed perfection made flesh. But now for perfection become manifested, you and I have to become intentional when it comes to one key thing, which is energy. Know that your energy is precisely one key thing that's going to cause people to talk about you when you're not in the room, and how they're going to be talking about you, because you are either bringing them up or bringing them down, and that's something that is within your control. Again, PEMS, physical ecosystem, emotional ecosystem, mental ecosystem, spiritual ecosystem, that's within your control. And from that point, you just pay attention to the type of people you allow in your life. Are the people who are basically complainers or basically victims, eternal victims, life is against them? Or are they simply hustlers? And the people believe that yes, everything is happening to them? Or the people who have reached the highest level of consciousness and they simply believe that they're simply meant to be, oh yes, the Nelson Mandela of the community, the Desmond Tutu of the community, or people who are simply meant to bring people together in order for the potential of the whole community to be manifested and take them from where they are right now all the way to the next step as far as Israel is concerned. Much love, everyone. I'm out.